Welcome to the Uncanny Valley podcast. Today, we're plunging headfirst into a world that, well, it really defies logic. A place where the architecture seems to have a pulse, where ancient gods cast these long shadows, and every single step you take can have monumental, often pretty brutal, political consequences. Our sources, and we've gathered quite a bit, offer us this extraordinary and sometimes unnerving window into this incredible reality. Imagine, if you can, a city that doesn't just climb into the sky, but almost becomes the sky, stretching a full mile high. It's not just tall, it's like a living testament to centuries of relentless, often chaotic, construction built and rebuilt atop itself, forming what's described as a nightmare warren of twisting passages. It just seems to mock the very laws of physics. This isn't just an urban center. It's called the furthest bastion of a terrible and burgeoning empire, and it's anchored by this chilling focal point, a blistering rotten hole in reality at its center. We've meticulously combed through the lore to distill the most compelling insights, trying to act as your guides through this dense, fascinating, and frequently terrifying world. Our goal today is pretty clear: to give you a sharp, thorough understanding of this intricate society, uncovering the surprising truths and the complex power dynamics that fuel it. We'll delve into the harsh realities of oppression, witness the desperate, shattered fight for freedom, and, confront the myriad of strange phenomena that make this city, Spire, utterly unique.
Yeah, and what truly resonates about Spire, I think, is how its environment and its belief systems aren't just like passive backdrops. They are active, shaping forces, inextricably woven into the daily existence and the grand ambitions of everyone who calls this impossible place home. The city itself almost feels like this colossal living character, profoundly influencing the ongoing saga of its inhabitants.
That's a crucial observation. When you start to grasp the sheer audacity of Spire's architecture, it really earns its title as an impossible city. Its immense scale renders any conventional notion of urban planning, well, obsolete. This isn't just a tall building, it's a structure older than anyone can remember, seemingly existing outside linear time. It's a monument to a forgotten past, layered onto this oppressive present.
Indeed, the sources really emphasize that Spire has been built and rebuilt atop itself. And this isn't just about growth, it's about a continuous, often brutal process of layering. Imagine centuries of habitation, conflict, adaptation just piling up, forming this labyrinth of twisting passages and structures where history literally becomes the ground under your feet. It's a physical manifestation of a society that consumes and reuses its own past, really.
And the environment itself plays this characteristically grim role. Spire is located in a land called Dyster. It's a region of temperate highlands, black-gray slate mountains. You get distinct seasonal rains, baking hot summers, short, harsh winters. A real contrast, actually, to the ancestral homes of the High Elves, the ruling Alfur, who are from the far north. Their lands are described as great fortresses of ice and thorn, trapped in perpetual winter, where even time itself grows slow and brittle. This geographical climatic difference, it's almost a metaphor for the deep cultural and ethical divide, isn't it?
Absolutely. And the environmental hazards within Spire are particularly visceral, driving home the pervasive industrial decay. Take the Works District, for example. It's choked by this black tar smoke that clings to every single surface. And this isn't just, an aesthetic detail, it's a chronic health crisis for the people living there. They apparently bring up sticky black tar with each cough. That's a horrifying, tangible consequence of living in the lowest levels of this industrial behemoth. The very air is a constant reminder of the city's unforgiving nature.
So with a city this impossible, this ancient, this grim, the immediate question is, how did it even come to be? And our sources are surprisingly quiet on its creators. There are no surviving records detailing who built Spire, only records of its later inhabitants. This void has given rise to this fascinating, often contradictory array of theories about its origin. Everyone living in Spire, it seems, has their own deeply held foundational myth about it.
Right. And these theories broadly fall into two camps. You've got the organic explanations and the engineered ones. On the organic side, one popular theory, especially among these necrophysiomancers, they're mystics who claim to work undeath magic on the building's structure, its corpse.
Wow.
Yeah, they suggest Spire literally grew. It started as an organic object, a great tree of flesh, which is now fossilized into rock. An even more unsettling idea posits that Spire was once a towering creature that stalked across the landscape, and it's merely sleeping now. Sleeping. Perhaps waiting for the bothersome parasites, as it apparently views intelligent races, to simply die out. Imagine waking up to find the ground you stand on is stirring.
That's genuinely unsettling. And the engineered explanation explanations are even more mind-bending. Some believe the Prokotacos, a distant precursor race, built Spire as a sort of cap atop something terrible. We're talking about a permanent demonic incursion or a site of grim sacrifice, with Spire's strange design specifically intended to dissipate harmful energies. That's a pretty heavy origin story for a city.
The theories don't stop there, though. Another suggests it's the larval form, or the dormant form, of some kind of deity, just waiting for the correct impetus to be birthed or awakened.
A god's larva.
Or maybe ancient elves constructed it to plumb magic from the depths of the earth and light a signal fire for the gods, thereby bringing religion to the world. Each of these paints a dramatically different picture of Spire's true nature, from a divine incubator to a magical conduit.
And they get even more exotic. One theory credits this Knoll horizon breaker, Asiliux the Charmed, who supposedly conjured it millennia ago to capture a great and multifaceted djinn and essentially create the world by manipulating its energy. Then there's the truly disturbing possibility that Spire is actually the tip of the extra-dimensional ovipositor from which world eggs are produced, with this particular world egg nearly been disgorged entirely.
That's quite a visual.
Isn't it?
And of course, there's the ever-present, more technologically inclined idea that it could simply be a Prokotacos machine that fell into disuse and disrepair eons ago, and its reactivation would change the world forever. The sheer variety and, frankly, the fantastical nature of these origin theories powerfully demonstrates the profound, unsettling mystery at the city's heart.
And then, after all that wild speculation, you get the philosophical views and the strikingly simple ones. There's the idea of Spire as a vast consensual hallucination that all entities within accept as real, which just challenges the very nature of reality within the city. Or, for some, the most pragmatic, almost dismissive explanation is just a really big building. So, what does this fascinating and sometimes absurd collection of origin theories truly reveal about Spire? What's really significant here, I think, is how these conflicting narratives actively prevent a unified identity for the city. They underpin the entire worldview and motivations of its different peoples, influencing everything from their religious practices to their revolutionary goals. Spire isn't just a place with ancient history. It's a city fundamentally at war with its own foundational myths. This makes collective progress outside of, say, the ministry's singular focus almost impossible.
Exactly. The dominant narrative of Spire's origin often correlates directly with a faction's ideology or its established place in the city's brutal hierarchy. For instance, the necrophusomancers, who believe Spire is a fossilized creature, naturally view its ongoing decay as, well, a natural process to be embraced, not a problem to be fixed, and that directly influences their magic and their societal role.
Right. And speaking of hierarchy, let's turn our attention to the absolute masters of Spire, the Alfur, the High Elves. Our sources depict them as strange and beautiful masked creatures from the far north, with magic running through their veins. Beings of blazing and beautiful color whose feet barely touch the ground when they walk, and whose perfect hair flows as if caught in a gentle wind. That goes. They sound ethereal, almost divine, but their rule is, well, it's anything but.
Their presence in Spire is rooted in brutal conquest. 2 centuries ago, they seized the city from the Dark Elves, the Drow, in a brutal and bloody war. From this towering stronghold, they continue their conquest south, locked in a bloody struggle with the hyena-faced gnolls of Far Nujab. Their mercenary armies are largely made up of ingenious humans, actually. Their reign is clearly built on ongoing conflict and maintained through absolute dominance.
And their traditions perfectly reflect their nature, don't they? It's a fundamental custom for the Alfur to always wear a mask in public, with more face covered being seen as better. This practice even extends to their servants, suggesting this deep cultural value placed on concealment and maybe a chilling detachment from the lesser races they subjugate. Their faith centers on the solar pantheon, viewing the old gods, the drow deities, as weak and powerless. And for their physical well-being, they take regular ice baths to cool the blood and soothe the mind.
Ice baths.
Yeah, a practice that underlines their exotic biology, hinting that their very bodies are different from those they oppress.
And their core belief system is truly chilling. A foundational tenet for them is to never lower yourself beneath the creature of another race. To do so is an affront to your majesty. This belief isn't just rhetoric. It underpins their entire oppressive rule, serving as a justification for their inherent cruelty. The source explicitly states that arcane cruelty is entirely in their nature. Many Alfur apparently can only barely understand the concept of cruelty when applied to lesser races than themselves. It highlights this profound, almost genetic lack of empathy. It's not just a tactic, it's part of their being.
And where do these cruel masters live? Mostly in these walled districts of perverse and audacious luxury, like the district of Amaranth. These are places of great palaces of cold stone, polished marble floors, glittering star-studded roofs, lush vermilion carpets, and soft mage-light auroras, just dripping with wealth.
Right.
Their pastimes are equally lavish and, frankly, disturbing, creating exquisite art, gold and silversmithing, studying dusty tomes. But their entertainments, and this is where it gets really grim, chillingly include opera, torture opera.
Torture opera.
Yeah, that juxtaposition alone tells you everything you need to know about the Alfur's twisted sense of leisure, doesn't it?
It truly does. Now let's maybe descend from that chilling opulence to the oppressed majority of Spire. The Drow, the Dark Elves. They are the descendants of High Elves, cursed half of their number millennia ago, a transformation that has fundamentally shaped their existence over time.
And the mechanism of their subjugation is formalized in this insidious system called the Durance. Drow are, quote, graciously allowed to live in the city if they perform 4 years of service to an Alfur lord once they come of age. This typically happens around 16, but sources say desperate times can see kids as young as 13 taken.
It's awful.
On Durance Day, Drow are rounded up by the city guard and herded up Spire, then essentially bargained for and traded back and forth between moneyed lords and ladies.
It's a very specific, almost bureaucratic form of temporary slavery. While they are not permitted to choose how they spend their durance, the Alfur lord is expected to provide food, clothing, and shelter. Basic survival. Durance also serves as a common punishment for a crime, ranging from 6 months for minor stuff to several years, if not decades, for serious crimes. Critically, while a drow is still considered a person, not property, it is unequivocally acknowledged as a form of slavery, albeit a temporary form.
Right. Temporary, but...
But the insidious part. After those 4 years, it's extremely hard to acquire resources and skills to make it on their own, often leading to continued work for the same Alfur out of sheer economic necessity. Some wealthy drow families can buy out the Durance, or drow can try to hide from the Alfur, but this leads to these uneasy lives because the penalty is exile or worse. It's a system designed to strip them of agency and keep them trapped.
The drow, in response, have developed these unique traditions and cultural adaptations to their harsh reality. Their malad, or curse, causes a sensitivity to light, making clothes that cover the skin and dark glasses a necessity for drow who wish to spend any time outside during the day. Many even cover their skin at night.
Yeah.
For greetings, it's customary to ask after the health of a person's family, or fanmi in the local patois, before you ask after their own. That powerfully emphasizes their deep sense of community and collective survival, I think. And in Spire, interestingly, in contrast to their home nations, drow are largely egalitarian with regards to gender.
And their moral compass, which is a vital source of resilience, is often found in the core virtues embodied by their moon goddess, Damnu. These 6 virtues are tenacity to endure against enemies, community to help others and welcome them, grace precision, controlled revelation, vigilance awareness and being informed, sagacity learning from the past, drawing your own conclusions, and finally, fury, utter, fearless bloodshed. These values serve as a profound guide for many drow, offering a framework for both passive resistance and, well, active rebellion.
Okay, let's turn to the humans. They make up the bulk of the Alfur mercenary armies and are pretty widely distributed throughout Spire. They're predominantly known for their ingenious technological advancements. The source pointedly notes that humans invented the gun and things have never really been the same since. A single innovation that fundamentally shifted power dynamics.
Definitely. And their intelligence extends into the esoteric, too. The computational division in UNCAiNNY, for example, is apparently a front for a cult that implants something called the intelligence, a Brokatako's crystal, directly into human brains.
Wait, into their brains?
Directly into their brains. This creates living data nodes, which allow access to all domains via a linked neural net.
So, human hard drives linked together.
Essentially, yeah. Augmented by alien crystals, forming this vast shared neural net offering instant access to knowledge within Spire. It's a collective consciousness of information. Bizarre and unsettling.
And on the technological frontier, there's also this equally fascinating, if maybe terrifying, research into galvanics. These are described as fizzing, sparking devices that hum and glow with unnatural colors. Currently, it's considered a fringe science, an amusing toy to most humans who still prefer reliable old steam power.
Right.
However, scientists are actively in talks with the Alfur to create weapons that harness this unusual energy source. The implications of that kind of power being unleashed?
Yeah.
Oh, it's chilling.
Next up, we have the gnolls. They're the hyena-faced desert warriors from Far Nujab, currently locked in a bloody struggle with the Alfur down south. Despite their reputation as fierce fighters, they possess this astonishing mastery of demonology. In their capital, Almara, gnolls have mastered the art of demonology to such an extent that it powers the majority of their civilization.
How does that work?
They conjure and bind jinn, or demons, into these brass spheres for all sorts of purposes, generating heat, enabling hovering technology, even creating destructive explosives.
Yeah. So demons power their cities. But what's truly surprising, you mentioned, is their staggering affinity for agriculture and cultivation of unusual plants.
Yeah, it's quite the contrast. This skill allows them to survive and indeed prosper in the harsh desert of their home.
And this agricultural prowess makes them highly sought after by Alfur nobles, who even make exceptions to the laws against gnolls, just to employ them as gardeners.
But these aren't your typical flower gardens. These gnolls often cultivate astonishingly potent poisons like necrotizing widowwept or hilliswort in these intricate spiral gardens.
For what purpose?
For the chilling purpose of Alfur entertainment, watching animals die from the toxins. It's a really dark twist on a vital survival skill.
That's, yeah. Below the more organized races than scuttling underfoot are the gutterkin. They're described as a mishmash of goblin, dirt gnome, and weirder things besides. They inhabit the lowest parts of Spire, especially the works, living in vents and pipes and in the overhangs of warehouse eaves, basically waiting to rob or eat, or both.
Charming.
Right. Officially known as aberrants, the city's stance is to exterminate them on sight, though this is apparently rarely enforced. They're a common sight among the poorest inhabitants, signifying the absolute bottom rung of Spire's oppressive society.
And Spire's unique fauna are also really integral to its functionality and mystique. You've got the mega corvidae. These are raven or crow-like creatures, a little larger than an adult drow, and they form the primary exterior transport system of Spire. They carry goods, supplies, people up and down the outside of this mile-high city.
Practical detail. They struggle to fly upwards with heavy loads, which makes downward or horizontal travel significantly cheaper. That must shape the city's commerce quite a bit.
Definitely. And their breeding and husbandry are quite specific, apparently outside of the Alfur's ken. Instead, it's the drow, particularly those with connections to House Aliquam, who maintain most of the rookeries. These drow, known as crowsmen, endure the sun with traditional gear and swear fealty to a dark monarchy of corvid fae gods.
Fae gods, crow gods.
Seems so. While most lack intelligence due to selective breeding, the albino corvids are very clever. Some capable of simple conversation, or even playing cards, though amusingly, the sources say they never win.
Then there are the sky whales, which sound just mesmerizing. These placid, docile creatures hover gently, avoiding conflict, and they sail near the docks about once a day, letting birds collect goods from them.
But there's a restriction. A council decree prohibits them from approaching within half a mile of Spire, apparently due to a disastrous accident where a flaming sky whale smashed into the city 20 years ago.
A flaming sky whale?
That's what it says. They possess whipping, dexterous limbs for defense, and they sing when they are happy or sad, expelling moist gas and emitting this repetitive keening song. And in a truly unique detail, one is even required to sing the lead role in a famous Alfur musical masterpiece, though apparently it's never been successfully performed.
A singing whale lead. Okay, the Spire just keeps getting weirder.
And finally, we have to acknowledge the pervasive presence of ghosts. Spire is fundamentally a city of ghosts, particularly dense in the necropolis, which is described tellingly as a bustling city of the dead. Most living folk can't see them, but morticians and certain carrion priest rites which push the caster's soul closer to death enable interaction. Without strong resonance to manifest physically, ghosts are usually just sensed as aberrations. Sudden temperature drops, a single whispered phrase, cracking glass, or ominous dreams.
And their society is alien to the living.
Completely. The society of the dead is largely incomprehensible. They bicker, argue, live their unlives until even their spectral forms crumble away. They're often utterly insane by mortal standards and, quite understandably, jealous of the living.
So, looking at this diverse tapestry of peoples and creatures, what does this all mean for Spire? The very essence of the city seems defined by these incredibly distinct cultures and beings, each just striving to survive and exert their will within this brutally oppressive system. The interplay between them, whether it's the gnolls' chilling use of poisons, the drow's enduring resilience, or the pervasive, unseen presence of the dead, creates this rich and deeply textured world where every interaction carries weight.
Which leads us directly to the core conflict within Spire. This intricate web of factions, the volatile landscape of faiths, and the desperate, simmering rebellion. At the heart of it all is the Ministry, formerly the Ministry of our Hidden Mistress. This secret society is sworn to destroy and subvert the dominion of Alfur within Spire, with the explicit objective to claw back their city through subterfuge, sedition, and brutal violence.
And their worship is forbidden, centered on our hidden mistress, Lombre. She's the dark side of the moon, a goddess of poison and lies, shadows, and secrets. This worship is explicitly outlawed by the Alfur and, chillingly, carries a death sentence. So it's not just political rebellion, it's a literal holy war fought in the shadows.
Exactly. Their operational strategy is clearly defined by this principle: subvert, don't destroy. This means wresting weapons from enemies to turn them against them, recruiting from other organizations, using blackmail, threats, bribery to turn individuals rather than just killing them. The logic is chillingly pragmatic. You can't rule over ashes, you want the city to be standing when you're done. Although sources do note that when their cover's on the line, they will resort to bloodshed.
And the cost of this revolution is laid bare. The Ministry is brutally honest about it. You are going to hurt people. It's unavoidable even when dealing with Drow city guards who are just desperate and hungry and tired. The core agonizing question for operatives is, who are you going to hurt to get what you want? Who won't you hurt?
And then there's the grim acknowledgement: this is going to kill you. Active participation inevitably leads to death, madness, or destitution. As the source says, no one really retires, so you burn bright as best you can and try to make a difference. It's incredibly bleak.
How do they operate then? How do they maintain secrecy?
To ensure security, the Ministry operates as a decentralized cell structure. Ministers, the field agents, are trained in combat, stealth, and misdirection, recruited from the general populace. These cells report up to magisters, who oversee multiple active and sleeper cells. Information flows in these ever-tightening circles of security. Operatives get minimal direct support, often having to source materials using their initiative, and work for months or even years at a time without direct contact from a superior. It's high-stakes, largely self-sufficient work where failure is, well, dire.
And the leadership. Who's actually in charge?
The true identity is shrouded in mystery. Rumors range from a turncoat Alfur, a shifting cadre of masters, an undying Drow king, or even Lombre herself manifesting in 1,000 faces. No one really knows. Recruitment begins simply by knowing the Ministry exists, as the Alfur suppress any mention of it. Initiation involves these punishing tests and sacrifices, including rites of tenacity, grace, which involves supplanting a target's identity entirely, community selflessly helping bitter enemies, and sagacity studying strange elements of the city. These aren't easy entry points, they're transformative trials.
Beyond the Ministry, Fire's religious landscape is this complex, volatile mix of power and peril. The Drow moon goddess, Damnu, is central but multifaceted. The proper term for her covers 3 distinct facets: Limye, our glorious lady, the light side of the moon, which is actually sanctioned by the Alfur and embodies tenacity and community.
Okay, so there's an acceptable face.
Right. Then there's Lombre, our hidden mistress, the dark side, forbidden, worshipped by the Ministry. And finally, Lekole, our crimson vigil, the blood-red eclipse moon, also forbidden, associated with purity through annihilation. Worship of Lombre and Lekole is outlawed, carries a death sentence, shows the danger inherent in Drow faith.
The Cathedral of Our Glorious Lady is this sprawling structure, serving as the heart of the Dark Elf nation in Spire. It holds one of the most thorough histories of the Dark Elves, including family lineages, maps of vital repository of Drow identity, and a city trying to erase it. Interestingly, there's a growing internal movement within the cathedral that thinks the Ministry is doing more harm than good, advocating for peaceful integration with Alfur society.
So internal conflict too.
Exactly. It creates this fascinating and deeply consequential ideological split within the Drow community itself.
The Alfur, meanwhile, they stick to the solar pantheon, their primary faith. It's a family of 4 deities representing different facets of the sun, like Brother Autumn for death and insight, Sister Spring for rebirth, clarity, beauty. Worship is strongly encouraged, and not being pious enough can actually be used as a political weapon. Faith is deeply intertwined with power and control in Alfur society.
But the city also pulses with this myriad of other faiths and cults, each with its own bizarre practices and chilling implications. Take the cannibals of Grist. They worship a nightmare demigod called King Teeth. Eating thinking flesh transforms a person into a ghoul, ashen-skinned, lean, strong, elastic gut.
Okay.
Cannibalism is outlawed but grimly common due to poverty. And in a truly horrific twist, criminal prosecution actually serves to provide meals for the ghouls, perpetuating this grotesque cycle.
That is incredibly messed up.
What else? Or consider the Church of Absolution, also known as the Hungry Deep. This is a cult of exiled priests, madmen, burnt-out drug fiends, and vile magicians located near the very heart of Spire. They worship decay as the strongest force in the multiverse, believing everything will eventually rot and attain purity and absolute nothingness. It's this profound philosophy of surrender and nihilism, surprisingly potent.
Down in the grimy works district, you find the Machine Heart. Mostly humans, convinced Spire itself is a broken Prokotokos machine. They aim to repair it using barely understood alien technologies, wired directly into steam pipes and galvanic resonators. Their devotion grants them the ability to reason with and even control machinery, halt printing presses, swing cranes. They see technology as a path to a kind of mechanical divinity.
Another fascinating group, the cult of necrophusomancy, a sect within the Morticians who believe Spire is the corpse of something ancient, long ago turned to stone. They claim the city's corpse can be manipulated like any other, just on a much finer gradient due to its immense scale. It hints at this very literal, disturbing connection between their magic and the city's structure.
And then there's this recently discovered deity, the masked god. Appears in dreams or visions, guides those who must pretend they are something they're not. So beloved by actors, liars, revolutionaries, spies. It grants followers abilities like changing their face, mastery and subterfuge skills like sneak, deceive, steal, or even becoming a perfect replica of another person. A god tailor-made for the ministry's work, really.
The religious landscape is incredibly fragmented. You've got Ishtuk, god of personal demons, worshipped by Drow in Alaquam, a gray and tired-eyed creature whose balm is sought by those living a life of self-denial and mastery, and Caribus, the chained god, an enslaved deity who, if you can find him, permits you to ask one question. You enter this dreamlike state where he eerily reveals the question you're about to ask because he apparently knows all things.
But there's a catch, right?
Oh yeah, the cost for this knowledge is steep material wealth, fingers, ears, even the murder of loved ones. The terrifying assurance he's not a liar and always follows through on his promises.
Chilling. We also find Mia, god of secrets lost. Worship involves committing secrets to a sacred flame, letting followers make secrets lose power over them, or even coalesce a living creature out of a secret. And the Mani, a group that avoids names, steals scraps of faith, adores Drow and community. They perform small miracles, knowing they can't achieve the greatness of their home nations in Spire, but they'll take what they can get. It's a philosophy of micro-resistance.
There's also this chilling, ever-present rumor of the sun on Earth. Suggests the Alfur are trying to create a replica of the sun on Earth through devotion and immense sacrifice. If successful, unstoppable power. But it risks exploding and destroying the top half of Spire, a high-stakes gamble for absolute dominion with potentially catastrophic costs.
And on the more eccentric side, but still significant, are the Moonseekers of Grimaldi. This cult adores a human inventor, Grimaldi, obsessed with flight. He aims to fly to the moon to trade with its inhabitants. He creates mechanical marvels like gliding robes, spring-heeled boots for his followers. The fact that 4 major power blocks are trying to recruit, sabotage, or assassinate him shows his strategic importance.
Yeah, definitely. Finally, there are the city druids and keepers of the hives, a unique cabal of druids in the Garden District who believe Spire is alive, either dormant or unmoving. They commune monthly with Spire, often via hallucinogens for guidance, emerging with plans like sabotaging the works or liberating sky whales. In New Heaven, smaller druid clans tend rooftop gardens, attracting cloudlarks whose complex songs are believed to tell of the future and forgotten past, connecting the city's environment to ancient prophecies.
Bringing all these threads together, we see how the struggle for power in Spire plays out not just on battlefields, but within the very structures of faith, knowledge, even life and death itself. Each belief system, no matter how fringe, offers this unique lens to resist or reinforce the city's oppressive reality. The religious landscape is a constant battleground for hearts and minds.
And it's not just grand faiths, but also the more mundane or maybe not so mundane organizations that shape daily life. The City Guard, for instance, responsible for day-to-day law enforcement for most of Spire. It's described as a truly thankless job. Officers caught between Alfur paymasters who treat them like personal staff and are above the law, and a populace constantly trying to break laws.
Huh.
Most guards are local folk, known in their neighborhoods, often related to the people they police. Adds a layer of personal conflict to their duties, you know?
Yeah, that must be tough. Their laws are notoriously complex, too. The official statutes are in 18 tomes, competitively updated by a feuding ex-married couple.
Huh, right. A darkly amusing detail for such a brutal city's bureaucracy.
Notable outposts include Forlorn Standard, backing onto lawless Red Row, staffed by bloodthirsty lunatics, High Moon Precinct in the works, known for its overzealous desire to use its many guns, and Our Lady's Gate, protecting the cathedral, which is famously pro-Dro.
Operating quietly beneath the regular guard is the secret police, a discreet branch handling deep investigations. Regular guards are actually dissuaded from digging too deep. The secret police focus on rooting out the 9 forbidden faiths, including Lambre and Lacole worship. Makes them a direct, unseen threat to the ministry and other rebels.
Then you have the Knights of the North Docks, historically protectors, now devolved into a quarreling cadre of enforcers, extortionists, and brawlers controlling the North Docks. They wear gaudy armor, legally carry large weapons due to an ancient pact, display shifting allegiances on pennants. Their HQ, the castle, is a decommissioned human military paddle steamer housing their coffers.
And their navy.
Get this, 30 sturdy rowboats, 3 gun skips, and a cannon that hasn't been fired in 60 years. Speaks volumes about their current state, doesn't it?
It really does. A particularly striking subset within the Knights is the Carmine Scepter, a knightly order exclusively of women. Known for tooth-shattering brutality, they offer sanctuary to women fleeing abuse, train them rigorously in self-defense and extortion. Many members were refugees themselves, forging this powerful, self-sustaining force of resilience and often vengeance.
And if you're looking for true lawlessness, you head to Red Row, the lawless undercity. A bustling, smoky, fire-lit knot of activity attracting the best and worst. A place where demon-summoning gnolls rub shoulders with powder-cheeked drow nobles. Law and order are strange, half-remembered concepts. Gangs working for 3 bosses enforce a brutal, chaotic form of order.
And there's Brother Hellions' Church of the Gun there too, right?
Yeah, a major faction, worshipping firearms as humanity's greatest gift from the gods. Brother Hellion preaches his gospel, gives out food and bullets to the poor. An all-out war between his zealous congregation and the city guard seems all but inevitable.
Even further outside the city's formal boundaries is the Heap, a filthy, nailed-together pile of leaking boats and improvised rafts, docked just outside Spire's limits, secretly run by vicious Gnoll enforcers and a gang of unusually violent bioluminescent gutterkin, houses degenerate humans. It's true, grotesque nature is kept secret to avoid destruction by Spire authorities.
If you need to navigate the treacherous, often maddening tunnels of the Vermish network, you might encounter the Rats, a diverse group. Outcasts, criminals, and gutterkin, some of whom are actual rats. They offer passage for a price, but travelers risk being delivered to corpse houses for body parts, or robbed by particularly deranged groups. High risk, high reward travel, if you dare.
Shifting gears to more legitimate but still intriguing organizations. Grey Manor Services, an investigation company founded by Maxwell Roche, an ex-knight, hireable for any and all domestic, industrial, political, or paying job imaginable within investigation. Crucially, they operate strictly within the letter of the law, leading to arrests rather than direct violence, a remarkably rare stance in Spire.
And tucked away in the works is the Forge of Sun on Water, a lonely forge, not concerned with mass production. Sun on Water has meticulously rediscovered ancient Alfur ways of blade making, imbuing blades with sun and moonlight to create exquisite and most dangerous pieces of art. A single discovered dagger from her forge will cut through tempered steel as if it were paper. Immensely valuable, incredibly dangerous.
Finally, deep within the Vermishian network, Polaris Station stands, a vast and crumbling ruin taken over by black market traders and smugglers. They operate on the ruthless principle that anything and anyone can be bought and sold. Polaris is one of the few places where the Azerite sect gold-worshipping trader priests are unwelcome. The boss, Vex, apparently has a habit of nailing Azerites to the station's clock.
Okay, note to self. Don't annoy Vex. It's a nexus of illicit trade, fierce rivalries, and brutal, swift justice. Our journey wouldn't be complete without looking at the academic and research institutions, places where knowledge itself can be as dangerous as any weapon. The University of UNCAiNNY is a hub of unusual research, but maybe its most unsettling feature is the inverted telescope. Instead of looking at the stars, a faction of professors turn their telescope directly into the heart of Spire. scanning its depths, formulating theories on the weeping, ragged hole in reality at the city's core.
What kind of theories?
They range from chaos restoring balance, a decomposing god's corpse, a mad demon, or even a containment for the drow curse. Though the source states unequivocally, none of these theories are correct. Highlights the profound mystery still eluding even the most dedicated scholars.
Wow. The university's interview rooms are equally disturbing, offer a chilling glimpse into Alfur methods. These pinnacle of containment technology cells hold mutant creatures, intelligent gutterkin, grotesque spiders, pureblood midwives, no small number of drow, gnolls, and other horrors. They are subjected to tests, tortures, interrogations, and procedures for research. Starkly illustrates the Alfur's profound, detached cruelty. Remember, they can only barely understand the concept of cruelty when applied to lesser races. Knowledge here comes at a terrible price.
Moving into the more esoteric, the Brotherhood of the Unlidded Eye practices demonology, band magic, viewed as an utter aberration by Alfur, who imprison practitioners, yet chillingly reports that the Alfur are using demonic incursions as a weapon of war exist, highlights a terrifying hypocrisy.
And directly opposing them is the Sisterhood of Illumination, an offshoot of our glorious Lady's Church. They believe demonology is knowledge not to be forbidden, and have been at war with the Brotherhood for 20 years, leading to brutal reprisals that scar the city.
The College of the Undying Light, partially funded by the Solar Church, operates on the principle that the cosmos and everything in it is a single godly being. They adore knowledge, especially math and physics, work tirelessly with retro-engineers to understand Spire's arcology mysteries, seeking divine truth through scientific understanding of the city itself.
Two architectural and arcane marvels reside together: the Infinite Library and the Lunar Font. The Infinite Library, a vast vertical circle visible for miles around. Not actually infinite, but a loop constructed on a Mobius strip crammed with religious texts. At its center is the Lunar Font, a colossal array of lenses and fractured glass that distills moonlight into sacred liquid dropped by agonizingly slow drop for use in Alfur magic, a direct connection between the divine and arcane, powering Alfur influence.
Then there's the Vermission Vault, a collection of storage rooms and libraries painstakingly created by Drow sages to preserve their fractured history. It uniquely uses the Vermission's powers to hide things just out of step with the real world. Features include the Glass Library, where information coalesces into books, the Locked Stacks, knowledge interred, the Great Museum with artifacts from lost histories and impossible futures.
And the anastomosis device?
Ah, yes. The most disturbing part. It leaks lies into the world, capable of creating the world's most believable lie, backed by incontrovertible evidence, making it appear true even to the subject, though it can't physically alter reality. Imagine the potential for manipulation.
Terrifying. And finally, the Library of Snuffed Candles. Part vault, part devotional temple to Mer, god of snuffed candles. Its keepers meticulously conserve the last of things, single copies of cursed books, family trees of doomed houses, even the last speakers of dying dialects, alongside mundane but unique documents. Copying is forbidden, access tightly controlled, reflects its immense value as a repository of fading, precious knowledge.
If we connect this back to the broader struggle, we see how the quest for power in Spire plea about not just literally, but within the very structures of faith, knowledge, even life and death itself. Control of information, pursuit of forbidden knowledge, manipulation of belief, all central to survival and dominance in this impossibly layered city.
That's a powerful point. And perhaps nowhere is this more evident than in the medical and esoteric guilds of Spire, where life, death, and the unnatural intersect in profound ways. Take the Morticians. This guild has effectively conquered death through undying surgery, an exorbitantly expensive 3-day process. The subject's heart is replaced with a totem symbolizing their deepest desires. The original heart continues to beat separately. Its destruction means the subject's final demise.
Wow. So your life depends on protecting this separate heart.
Exactly. Post-surgery, regular checkups are needed to prevent the body from crumbling, rotting, and coming apart.
And this practice has bizarre legal ramifications.
Yeah. Due to a strange legal loophole, morticians can actually declare someone legally dead, even if they're still very much alive. If the person is still at large, a cadre of executioners will then subdue, capture, and adjust them. A terrifying way for authorities to bypass legal restrictions or just disappear troublesome individuals.
Much of the Mortician's activity centers around the necropolis, that huge central chamber connecting Upper Spire to the Garden District, notoriously riddled with ghosts, usually a dead and quiet place. But for those with the sight, it's a bustling ghost city, a parallel society living alongside the living.
And within the necropolis are the preservation chambers, housing unusually pretty corpses stored as art or for study, where the mad spirits of the preserved corpses collect in the rafters like mildew. Incredibly eerie detail showing their chilling obsession with death and decay, even aesthetically.
Then we have the midwives, an ancient drow guild devoted entirely to the survival of the dark elf race. Drow young are born in translucent egg sacs, fed blood for 6 months. Some drow possess startling spider-like traits, additional limbs, eyes, sick hairs, mandibles, spinnerets treated with a mix of devotion and fear.
So the midwives are trained not just in general medical care, but also in this unique drow biology, using occult arts to defend their race's precarious future.
They operate crucial incubation houses in mid-Spire, guarding hundreds of unborn drow. In the Undercity, where life is even harder, midwives provide vital medical and emotional support, often working alone, relying on actual spiders to tend to egg sacs. They defend the inhabitants of her neighborhood, both born and unborn, with vicious tenacity. Truly the literal protectors of the drow's future against overwhelming odds.
Now that we've journeyed through the incredible depths of Spire's world and its myriad inhabitants, it feels crucial to understand how survival actually works for those living within it. This brings us to the rules of engagement, the underlying mechanics that govern how Spire operates, both mechanically and narratively, shaping every choice.
Okay, yeah. A central concept here is stress. This isn't just an abstract feeling, it's a tangible measure of the minor negative effects characters accrue. Represents mental, physical, social strain from the relentless pressures of the city. Accumulate too much stress, and inevitably, something serious happens. It's a constant pressure cooker, especially for those in the ministry, I imagine.
Definitely. And you can mitigate stress, but it always comes with a narrative cost. You can lay low to remove all stress, but the catch is, the plot will move ahead without you, and things will occur that are outside of your control. Or you can actively choose to suffer fallout. This directly reduces your stress by shifting it from an abstract buildup to a definite, concrete consequence.
So fallout ensures every action carries tangible risk. The city itself pushes back, inflicting consequences, reputation damage, injuries, arrest.
Exactly. It's triggered when a dice roll falls short of your current stress level, with severity. Minor, moderate, severe increasing with accumulated stress. Minor fallout might be compromised. A friendly NPC questions your behavior, or rumor, whisper spreading. Moderate could be a broken arm, making a limb unusable, or being arrested. Severe implies catastrophic consequences, death, madness, destitution, like we heard about the Ministry's mission.
What's fascinating is the flexibility built in. Characters can choose to allocate 2 fallout results from the category before the one selected. So instead of, say, knocked out, you might opt for bleeding and panicked. Less severe, but still impactful. Fallout can even be upgraded for increased severity if you need to clear more stress. Plus, some abilities or armor give additional resistance slots where stress can be marked without counting towards the fallout total, making some characters much hardier. It's a system designed to highlight choices and consequences.
Right. Beyond managing consequences, characters navigate Spire using skills and domains. Skills are specific abilities. Compel, deceive, fight, fix, investigate, pursue, resist, sneak, steal. Having a skill gives you an edge, an extra die, when performing related actions.
And domains represent knowledge and influence within broad societal sectors: academia, crime, commerce, high society, low society, occult, order, religion, technology. A relevant domain adds to your effectiveness in that area. Plus, others can assist, adding to success if they have a relevant skill or domain, though they also risk taking stress. Teamwork always comes with shared risk in Spire.
The action resolution system is unique. Conversation first, dice second. Most progress involves dialogue and narrative. Dice only roll when the character has something to lose, always represented by the risk of marking stress. If a character could do it easily, they succeed automatically. If they couldn't possibly succeed, they fail. Rolls only happen when there's something at stake. Crucially, the GM never rolls dice for NPCs. Players roll to react or avoid, placing their agency front and center. NPC actions are woven into the fiction, represented by stress or fallout inflicted on players.
So players can act multiple times narratively, but
every dice roll comes with the chance of taking stress, so more actions equals more risk, a constant reminder of the city's inherent danger.
this brings us to combat in Spire. Intentionally portrayed as grim and brutal, the sources use visceral detail: bones snapping, teeth ripped out of jaws, blood getting everywhere, people soil themselves and die, messy and wet. Designed to be unglamorous.
Yeah, and there's a crucial thematic emphasis on humanizing the enemy. That person you killed has a name and loved ones waiting at home and was probably just doing their job.
Yeah.
The GM is encouraged to give opponents names, have friends shout them out in final moments, makes combat personal, regrettable, devastatingly real.
The rules define 3 combat ranges: melee, toe-to-toe, ranged, between buildings rooftop to street, and extreme range, anything further with line of sight. Weapons also have specific tags defining their behavior beyond damage. Tags like brutal for savage wounds, concealable for stealth, defensive for protection, or piercing, bypassing most armor, add this crucial strategic layer to equipment and fights.
So what this all means is that the mechanics of survival in Spire are brutally honest, uncompromising. They're meticulously designed to make every choice, every conflict, carry significant weight and immediate consequences, powerfully reflecting the constant danger, moral compromises, and unavoidable sacrifices faced by its inhabitants in their daily struggle for survival or freedom.
So as we bring our exploration of Spire to a close, let's recap some key insights. Spire is far more than just a city. It's a living, breathing entity of endless layers: physical, cultural, spiritual. Every detail, from its impossible, self-devouring architecture to its hidden, forbidden faiths, reinforces this pervasive system of oppression and, by necessity, a desperate, resilient resistance.
Yeah, the Drow Rebellion, spearheaded by the Ministry, fought through subterfuge, sedition, and brutal violence. It's a desperate, costly endeavor. Every victory comes with an inevitable price, demanding profound personal sacrifices and grim fallout for all participants. There's no easy path to freedom here.
And the city itself is this fascinating, disturbing tapestry of strange phenomena, populated by unique, often monstrous creatures, ancient, barely understood machines, powerful, often dark, magic. All these elements are inextricably intertwined with the daily struggles of its diverse peoples, creating a world that feels simultaneously alien, fantastical, and deeply tragically human.
What's perhaps most striking about Spire is its dynamic, ever-changing nature. It is never static. It's a constantly evolving environment, reshaped by the struggles, the desperate beliefs, the defiant actions of its inhabitants. The underlying tension that Spire is all the world you have ever known and it must fall highlights this deep-seated motivation for radical, fundamental change among the oppressed. For many, the city must be completely remade, perhaps even entirely destroyed, for true freedom to be achieved. It's a profound vision driving the very fabric of life and death within its towering walls.
So as you reflect on the complex and, well, uncanny world of Spire, maybe consider how much of our own reality is shaped by the compelling narratives we accept, the systems of belief we adhere to, and the different faces we present to the world. And ask yourself, what impossible sacrifice, if any, would you be willing to make to see your own world fundamentally transformed?
A heavy thought to end on.
It is. Thank you for joining us on this exploration in the complex and uncanny world of Spire. You've been listening to the Uncanny Valley podcast.